Hi, my name is Brittany Edwards, and I am here to give you the economic impact of Mountain View, Arkansas. The executive summary is we will talk about in this impact study. It examines the factors that helps to shape and has a significant impact on the economic profile of Mountain View, Arkansas. Some of the factors that will play a part in this impact study is things like the destination assets, socioeconomic profile, economic conditions. We will also provide a methodology that will help to show why Mountain View is the perfect place for people with families or just pretty much anyone who wants to get away. The impact study will also help to shed a light on visitor spending secondary impact. It will show the direct, indirect, and induced economic impacts. The purpose of the proposal is to describe the tourism assets and amenities of Mountain View. The destination and tourism assets, they contributed $100,000 to the city's economy and received an estimated $100,000 in lodging visitors. For the socioeconomic conditions, there's 2,839 residents, a median income of $23,000, and it has a lower cost of living. Some more economic conditions are that the median home price is $81,000. There's a 3.2% unemployment rate, which is 32% below the national average. It has had an increase of crime by 26 within the last few years. The methodology, we'll do a survey to send out to tourists with a phone interview to follow up, and then we'll end with the conclusion of the results and findings. The objective of the project is to examine several factors of Mountain View that help to shape and define the economic profile. The results will help to show the visitor spending secondary impacts and help to show the direct, indirect, and induced economic impacts. Purpose of the proposal is to help highlight and show the destination assets, the socioeconomic profile, living condition, and a methodology. All of these are going to help to show why Mountain View is perfect for families and anyone that wants to come and get away. And it also shows that why it is a great place to hold all kind of festivals, including the state's folk festival. For the data collection, surveys will be mailed out to tourists to help show the direct spending and any improvements that can be made. Key assumptions, it will help to identify visitors and local residents, which are also known as non-visitors, a representative sample of the visitor segment as well. Some of the assets that Mountain View has is it generated $10,000 from their 34 lodging options. The total economic impact in 2018 was around $100,000. And all the major events, excursions, attractions, activities, all that kind of stuff helped to bring in $60,000 towards the economic impact. Mountain View is a very small town, so there is not any public transportation. There is a rental car company, Enterprise. There's also ride sharing like Uber and Lyft for you to get around. You can also use bikes. It's small enough town you can walk where you want to go. There's a bunch of hiking trails, so there's definitely ways for you to get around. Some of the accommodations, there is 34 hotels and camping sites that surround the Mountain View area. Hotels generally run about $45 a night. Those prices do go up when it is festival time, and campsites generally tend to be around $60 a night. Some accommodations that come with them is you get a complimentary Southern style breakfast. This can include things like biscuits and gravy, grits, and all that kind of stuff. All of the hotels are owned by locals, so you have personal tour guides. They also have a vast knowledge of the area and history. They know where all the best fishing spots are. They also can show you their private ones that they use. There's a ton of hiking trails, horseback riding, that a lot of the campgrounds and the hotels own themselves. So you can get a really good deal on them. Some of the major events that are currently being held in Mountain View every year is the Mountains Music and Motorcycle event. It's where a bunch of motorcycle clubs come and hang out and drive through the mountain trails, listen to some music. There's also the annual Arkansas Bean Fest and Championship Outhouse races. It is where people from all over the country come to showcase their beans that they make, different recipes. They also build custom outhouse races that are raced down Main Street every year. There is also the Mountain View Bluegrass Festival, which it's where people from all over the state come to showcase their bluegrass, play all kinds of music, and that kind of stuff. And the Arkansas Folk Festival is kind of the same thing. But instead of just having local people come, there's people from all over the country that come and they play music. There's food trucks, there's activities, shopping, hiking trails, there's all kinds of stuff to do. The economic impact of the major events is every year they bring in about $60,000 worth. 15,000 from the Bean Fest and Outhouse Race, 25,000 from the Arkansas Folk Festival, 10,000 from the Mountains Music and Motorcycle Festival, and 12,000 from the Bluegrass. For the socioeconomic conditions, it is a very small town. There's about 3,000 residents, with that breaking into 1,100 men and 1,700 women. The median income is about 23,000, with the income per capita being around 14,000. There is a 13% lower cost of living. The cost of the homes are higher than with the average being around 81,000. Like I said, the median home price is about 81,600. Its major fields of employment are going to be manufacturing, construction. For the men, for the women, it's education, health, and social services. Mountain View does have a 3.2% unemployment rate, an increase of crime by 26% in the last 5 years, and the two biggest seem to be property crime and theft. Mountain View is only has the sales tax, which is 7.5%. This is 6% for the state and 1.5% for the county. It is 81% lower than other Arkansas cities and 4.5% lower than the maximum sales tax in Arkansas allowed. Because Mountain View is in Stone County, which is a dry county, meaning they don't sell any alcohol, there is no liquor tax, which drives down a lot of their taxes. The household income, 23,000, it tends to be about the median, with 14,000 being the income per capita. 22% are manufacturing jobs and 19% is construction jobs. Mountain View is considered a lower blue-collar town, so this means that most of the jobs available are going to be manual labor, which helps to contribute to the lower socioeconomic status because these jobs tend to not pay as well as others. For the employment, there is a 3.2% unemployment rate. This is 32% below the national average. There is a 38.5% of job growth within the next 10 years. Mountain View is 38.8% below the poverty level, and it is 157% below the national average. Education, most people tend to at least graduate high school, but there is only a 15.3% that have obtained a bachelor's degree or higher. Because of the lower education level, this means that there's less jobs for people that have a bigger income, which provides to the lower socioeconomic status. The safety in Mountain View is not the greatest. It is not considered to be one of the safer cities. There's only about 10 local law enforcements, which means there's about 3.6 law enforcements per 1,000 residents. In the entire state of Arkansas, there is 5,164 state officers with 2.9 per 1,000 residents. Here we see a comparison of Mountain View compared to other cities that are similar in population. As you can see, the property crime in some of those are higher, while the violent crimes tend to be lower than cities that are within the same demographics. For the data collection to get an idea, we were gonna take a two-part approach. First, we were gonna do mailed out surveys to get some of information and kind of do our data collection pool, and then follow up with a phone interview. The dates for the methodology is going to be between October 1st, 2019 and April 20th, 2020. By doing it through these time, we get two of the major festivals, the Arkansas Folk Festival, which takes place in April, and then the Bean Fest and Outhouse Race, which takes place in October. So it will give us a larger selection of people to go from. For the mail process, the screening service, there's six criteria to participate in the survey. Age, we're going to do 15 and older, just because if you include the younger generation, you can get more of an idea of what they liked and what they didn't like and improvements that can be made. If they are tourist or local, where their hometown is, what their purpose for visiting was, phone number, and a mailing address. Using the 6 screening items, we will determine if the person is a tourist or a local. In order to collect the data, we will get different businesses in town to participate. Information on what is being accomplished and a script to get people to participate will be given out. Since Mountain View relies so much on tourism, most businesses are willing to help out and participate. Because a lot of Arkansas is old school and they don't use a lot of technology, we'll use a paper and pencil to fill out the forms for the screening process. For phase 2, we'll send out a mail survey, which will help us get a demographic of things like their age, their gender, their race, ethnicity, marital status, income, and education. Once we receive that, if they fit the criteria that we are looking for, we will call them with a phone interview, asking things like the number of nights stayed, lodging, why they wanted to visit, what restaurants they visited, any activities they did, what mode of transportation they had, any likes or dislikes, and what improvements they feel can be made. The results from the study will help us identify the number of visitors and local residents, what activities and expenditures they liked. It will also help us to calculate the direct and secondary impacts on the local economy, include multiplier effect of local spending. It will also show us the total impact that tourism and the festivals have for the city. In conclusion, Mountain View has a lower percentage of taxes to help businesses thrive and compete. It already hosts a bunch of major events, so adding more to it will make it more successful. It received 10,000 in lodging visitors, which contributed to the 100,000 in economic impact. Major events have already contributed 60,000 to the city economy, so getting more to come in and participate will raise that number. And lastly, having a strong sense of folk history and Southern charm, Mountain View is an ideal place to hold music festivals. Because they already have such a reputation and have such a success rate, it should be easy to get people to want to come and have their festivals here, and it should be easy to get families to want to come and visit. Thank you.